Many might think that they have already seen a lot of this story, and others know that incredible things could happen and that we have not imagined. But without a doubt, this theory will not let you sleep. Imagine that the two people who have suffered the most thanks to Jin Mu's evil could unite and avenge all the pain and suffering he has caused them. We already know that you are a fanatic expert in soul alchemy, and for that reason any information or theory excites you. Many were left with a lot of unanswered questions and a number of theories that could come true in the next season. Although we already have some details of this upcoming season, there are still many unanswered questions that have many fans on hold. We are very close to see the new season, and we know that Jung So-min will not be in the second part of this story, since all the news and information we have about it does not place her in the middle of the story. But what if everything is different, or if the production is really hiding that Jung So-min would be participating in the production, and that we could see Jung So-min really playing Bu Yeon in the story? That's why today I want to tell you about one of the theories that might leave you sleepless. A theory that would be impossible to imagine, but could be among the infinite possibilities of what could happen in this amazing story. Today I want to talk to you about Nak-soo and Jin Bu Yeon together to destroy Jin Mu in Season 2. But first, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you'll be among the first to see our content. It's amazing all the details that this story can show us as the chapters go by. If you are an expert fan of the series, you could suffer the end, but at the same time you were left with many unanswered questions. And maybe you are wondering what will happen in this second season. We saw in the previews that many different things will happen in the new season, and that many of the people will even change drastically. What surprised us was when we saw Nak-soo. Actually, we were not surprised to see her since we knew that Nak-soo might be the main part of the upcoming season. What did surprise us was the way we saw her. Very different, and she didn't look like she was the Nak-soo we already know as a murderer and full of hate and revenge. We can't say the same when we saw the images of Jang-wook. In the images we can see and we can imagine that in the next season Jang-wook is full of hate, and will probably seek revenge for everything that has happened and everything that caused him to now not have the love of his life by his side. The theory that I will show you today is very interesting because it puts Jang-wook in a very difficult situation, and he would have to decide who he really loves, Nak-soo or Bu Yeon. The theory talks about the possibility that Nak-soo could join forces with Bu Yeon to once and for all put an end to her greatest enemy, who is Jin Mu. What would happen if these two characters actually join forces and fight together to end this evil character who has done nothing but harm thanks to his ambition for power? It would be something incredible just to think that something like this could happen, because not only would we be talking about putting the two characters with extreme power to help each other for a common cause, but this implies many things for the story. The first thing is that we have to understand that Jang-wook would have to choose which of the two he would stay with. Recall that he fell in love with Mu-Deok and gradually began to love everything she stands for. The reality is that Jang-wook fell in love with the soul that was inside Mu-Deok's body, and now in this new season that soul returns to her original body, so in reality the woman and the love of his life is now in Nak-soo's body. On the other hand, we have to recognize that when a person falls in love they also fall in love with the body, so that would probably cause Jang-wook to get confused and not really know which is the right person to love. But really, what would happen if these two women teamed up to take down their enemy? First, we have to remember that Bu Yeon has a very difficult history, and for years she had to practically forget her family, because Jin Mu tried to kill her when he threw her into the lake and left her for dead. If it wasn't for the old woman who rescued her, she probably would have died. So many have actually wondered why she never went back to her original family and just said what happened so they could give Jin Mu his comeuppance. Many say that she could be planning her revenge for years and waiting for the perfect moment to make Jin Mu pay for all the bad things he has done and especially for all the suffering he caused her and her family. On the other side we have Nak-soo, and we can mention many things that have happened to also hate Jin Mu and want to take revenge. For example, Jin Mu lied to Nak-soo since she was a child. Let's remember that Nak-soo grew up thinking that her whole family and her father were killed by Park Jin along with the other families. But what she didn't know is that it was all a lie. Jin Mu used everything to his advantage and adopted Nak-soo, turning her into the murderer we all know her to be thanks to the hatred he was able to teach her. He took her away from society and trained her day and night so he could use her. What Nak-soo never knew was that in reality, who killed her family was her own father, who was a soul shifter, and became wild, so they had no choice but to end his life. Then we saw how in the last chapter Jin Mu used a spell to make Mu-Deok lose control and end up killing many people, and finally ended up killing the love of her life, Jang-wook. So none of this whole terrible tragedy would have happened if not for Jin Mu's evil and thirst for power and his desperation to find the ice stone and be in control completely. So we can think that these two people, both Nak-soo and Bu Yeon, have enough reasons to unite and try to destroy Jin Mu. He took away their family, made them suffer and live a hell, and all because of the power and evil he represents. So if they unite, they could form an indestructible team and so could end that threat forever, and they could end all the suffering. Nak-soo could continue to live with her great love, and they could even have a normal life and a family, while Bu Yeon could go back to her mother and make up for all the lost time. We can't forget that Jin Mu now poses a more potent danger in this second season, thanks to the fact that we saw how he started to pave his way and poison the prince's mind by telling him that Jang-wook would be a total threat to his reign and that he could help him end that threat. Honestly, this story has countless unexplained things and unresolved details, so for that reason is that we can think that anything could happen in the next season. It would be amazing if something like this theory happens, and I think many fans would be very happy that once and for all Jin Mu gets what he deserves and Nak-soo and Bu Yeon can live in peace and happiness. Tell me what you think about this theory, and if you have any other theories that you think we should talk about in our channel. If you like this video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends.